Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're clearly doing something a little different for 2025 Season 1. I'm going to try to run the full LMP3 Trophy schedule. And I'm also doing post-race commentary instead of live commentary. We'll see how this goes. We're coming to first lap for qualifying. So here we are, VIR, coming to our first qualifying lap. First time I've ever done a race here at this track. And get ready for an incoming live reaction. On the brakes on for turn 1. Yeah, listening to myself make all these dumb noises while I'm competing, trying to do something in iRacing. It's kind of cringy, actually, and embarrassing. But yeah, first time racing VIR this week. I've owned the track on iRacing for years and years, even before they did the rescan of it, but I never actually did a race here for one reason or another. But it's a really fun track, really technical. Very high speed, you wouldn't think it was from just looking at it on a track map. The famous Oak Tree corner, sans Oak Tree. Rest in peace, Oak Tree. Gone but not forgotten. And yeah, we're driving the dentist mobile, the LMP3. And I went off track there, but that's alright. We get 2 laps. Set a time. And I am aware that the relative is off screen slightly, but I will fix that for the next video, don't you worry. So here we come for our second chance at a timed lap. Hugging the inside, then back to the outside for turn 1, braking at the 2 marker, getting all over the curb for the apex, and staying to the right here because there's a big bump in turn 2 if you stay on the left side. There also appears to be a bit of a crown before turn 3. Use up all the track on exit. You don't get an off track for any of that. This section is hard on cold tires. The car just wants to steer into the wall there. So you either got a short shift or lift. And then this S section is all wide open throttle. Stay tight to the curbing, stay tight to the outside line. Run over all this, brake at the 3 marker. And then the front end gets real light here. But we had a pretty good line through that corner that time. Long straightaway here that we're going to break at the 1 marker. Another tough corner coming up. Stay to the left of the crown and then bring it in over the curbing. You can really attack the curbing with this car, which you wouldn't normally think a prototype could do, but this one can. And staying tight to the curbing on the final few corners, and there you go, that's a lap at VIR.
Check a flag.
So let's jump right into the race. We qualified P4, we are about 4/10ths off the pole time. And we're on the disadvantageous line for the start of this race. Leader bringing it very slow to the green, but we'll just have to time it as best as we can. And I was a little slow on the jump there, so P5 getting inside of us there right at the very start. Taking it nice and easy into turn 1, a little too easy.
Right side.
And I still nearly drive off the track despite taking it easy.
Still there.
big blind spot. I can't see the 10 car there. I pretty much have to let him go because I'm on single monitors and he is in my blind spot. So great start! Losing 3 positions right off the start. you see what I mean about how loose these cars are on cold tires. 10 car wiggling all over the place, I'm wiggling all over the place. Grass just flying up everywhere. The dirty air in these cars is really bad too, especially in those faster S's. Mainly that last one where you turn left before the downhill. You can see I'm actually like rolling out of the throttle early just to counteract the dirty air there. Late downshifts. This car seems to like that for some reason. This is also a fixed setup series, so the only variable we have with the in-car adjustments is the brake bias. Ignore the traction control and throttle shaping. But yeah, 20-minute race. So we got time to get it back, although it is a short race. As you see, P4 locking it up. This car is extremely easy to lock up the front brakes on. And I tend to run higher brake bias than most people do. So on cold tires, for me, it actually works quite well. But then I have to move the brake bias forward, or backwards rather. Yes, I'm moving it backwards in this case, i.e. lowering the brake bias as the tires get warmer. P7 goes wide, I see the opportunity, gotta take it. And a little bit of net code, no big deal. Not going to scare me out of sending it. We've mostly got position on him. Let's see if we can clutch it. He goes deep on the brakes.
Still there.
And I just grabbed too much curb there. And I can't complete the pass. Yeah, again, it's just so easy to lock up the brakes there. But if you lock them up just once and overheat, it's very difficult to recover from. You have to drive very easily to get those tires cooled back down. A little short shift, a little lift. It's still sketchy through that S section on cold tires. Hesitated a little on the steering right before the downhill. And right now I'm just working as hard as I can to try and stay in this guy's draft, to try and keep up with the front runners. And I do struggle with cold tires in this car. But once they get warmed up, I'm as fast as any of them, so I'm just working as hard as I can, trying to stay in the draft without spinning out. A little bit of dirty air there, I couldn't quite turn the car as well as I wanted to for that final corner. I don't know all the corner names for VIR. This was my first week racing it, like I said earlier. This section is trickier than it looks because... you see I get a little loose there under braking, but... that section is tricky because there's like a crown on the right side, and if you drive over the crown, it's like really easy to feel the weight transfer go all the way to the rear, and there's like no grip in the front end because of that. And then you pretty much got to drive over the curbs on exit to carry the maximum speed out of that corner. And if you hit that wrong, that can get you loose as well. Or with too much steering angle, not just too much throttle. But I did drive this car for a few weeks last season. I did manage to win one race at Red Bull Ring. And it was a wet race, too. First time I ever ran in the rain since they introduced it on iRacing, and I got my first wet weather race win. Well, that's my only win in this series so far. But we did pull away from P8, so immediate goal was met, that was being to stay in the draft and to break away from the guys behind us, to give us a bit of a buffer to actually try and make a pass without threat of it just losing spots. And the tires are getting warmed up now. It's a little easier to get on the power. It's still a little sketchy. Of course, if we could actually adjust the traction control, that wouldn't be an issue, but for some reason they don't allow that in this series. First off track, just a little too far to the left. But I would say the biggest challenge of learning this car specifically is just getting used to the right-hand driving. I know a lot of people adjust it with the cameras, but then you can't see the steering wheel. And as you see, I don't like use any fancy schmancy dashboard stuff. I don't know, I feel that being able to move your camera seat should be considered cheating, because that's not really fair in my opinion. I think you should be forced to sit in whatever position they give you. And if you take the time to learn it, it's really not that bad. And you will get used to it going back and forth with it. I also did the same thing with the V8 supercars. I just learned it and got used to it. I didn't move the cameras around. Maybe that's a bit of a hot take, but I don't feel like you should be allowed to just move the cameras around if you don't like your driving position, to an extent. But I don't think you should be able to center up like some people do. And to be clear, though, I don't consider people doing it now cheating, because it is allowed. I just think if you want to learn the car, you should get used to driving on the right-hand side. But yeah, this car can handle the curbs quite well. In this section, I'm just all on top of them. Which I wouldn't think a prototype would normally be able to handle, but this one does it. Oh, big lockup from P5. We're gonna get to the outside of him.
Left side.
Can we make it stick? Yes, we're gonna get the run off corner exit and make that pass. If you get off track here, it's like driving on ice. It's just so difficult to actually just get back on the track. You saw he went off and then he actually did get the car slowed down quite a bit, but he still lost 2 spots because of that. So one of the 3 spots that we lost is we get back. Unfortunately, we do gotta work a little bit harder to get back into draft range at this point. But the tires are warming up, brakes are nice and warm, and my pace is a little bit better once we get some laps on the tires and all that jazz. Although we have kind of lost touch with the leaders. Big short shift there. I'm still struggling in turn 5, just trying to put the power down. I also struggled with gear selection in that oak tree section. Sometimes it seems like second gear was better for the long run, other times I couldn't get through the corner and I had to use first. I ended up using first in a lot of this race, and most of the races that I did, which was only 3 this week. Now watch what happens here, this is a live reaction. Karma. That's what you get for running me off the track, bitch! Alright, so... obviously that was heat of the moment. I don't intend to call out anybody. That was just heat of the moment because we had the netcode contact, which I didn't realize I was netcode at the time. But yeah, he did make a mistake. He took too much curb and got loose and crashed. But yeah, you have to be careful driving over those curbs, because that can happen. It can take a lot of abuse over the curbs, but only so much apparently. Off track number 2, and watch the mirrors. P6 cooks it, locks the right front up, he goes off track. And now, we're all by ourselves for the rest of the race.
Good job, nothing out the back. Big gap, there's 3.
Nice and smooth. Yeah, more live commentary. One thing I've heard people say about this car is that they really have trouble with the braking, and that you can't really go full threshold braking. You can, provided you have enough speed, but on a track like VIR, you really don't build enough speed except in turn 1 to actually do that. And you've got to have load on the front tires to make it work. You can do it, but you do have to be careful and make sure the front tires are actually loaded so you can actually get to 100% threshold braking. A little too tight. I would have liked to have went wider in the section. That's definitely my most inconsistent section of the track. Made my time running it this week. Especially on a single monitor like I have, because you just don't have the same depth perception as somebody with triples would. You can't just, like, look. You know, you kind of have to guess. Which also killed me on the initial start. But we'll work on that in the future. We'll get triples sometime in the future, I'm sure. Yeah, see, they're not quite 100% threshold braking, but about as close as you're gonna get. Missed that apex as well. And going back to the driving position thing, you know, I learned it with the V8 supercar as well. Once you get the hang of it, and you know your reference points very well, you can go back and forth between right-hand and left-hand drive, no problem. Just put in a little work, practice it, and it won't be a big deal. Yeah, you see, I tried second gear that time there, just trying something out. Didn't quite work. But we didn't lose anything either. So this is only a 20-minute race. So we will be coming to the white flag this time by.
Just get a look at your fuel pressure gauge. Get a look at it so you know where it's at if you see it flat.
A little bit of a short shift there, but that's alright. There it is, white flag. Gotta move that UI down as well. Looks like I hit about 87% threshold brake there. It's about as close to 100% as you're gonna get in this scenario. Late downshift. Kinda missed the apex again in turn 3, but what are you gonna do? Even at this point in the race, just a little bit of lifting through that little S section there. Had we started with a full fuel load, it probably would have been very confident in just sending it without lifting.
Car off the track on the left. Keep going.
But yeah, I was mostly pleased with my pace there. I was within a few tenths of this 9500 iRating guy, so I consider that pretty good. 4 corners. Yep, 4 more corners. But I was just too far behind at this point to make any kind of inroads with these guys. That's alright, we'll take a top 5. Alright. There it is. Top 5 at VIR to start the season.
Keep moving. Your eyes open.
That's a wrap.
Checker flag. brother man, you drove your ass off today. We'll get him next week.
Alright, so to further highlight the struggles with cold tires, let's see how many guys go off here. We already see one in the back going off. Watch this. Coming to turn 5. Yeah, you see 4 guys actually spinning out there. Cold tires in this cars are tricky. And then here's my view of the netcode contact on the back straightaway. Clearly have a run, clearly alongside him. Just a little bit of netcode, no big deal, sorry to that guy for calling him you-know-what. And here's what happened to him when he spun out. Race over. Alright, so taking a look at the results of this race. P5 plus 26 I rating, minus 0.01 safety rating, big deal. We're about half a second off the fast guys, but, you know, that's the best I could do. 156 championship points to start the season. Not bad. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, please. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.